Hello, and welcome to the Love and Light podcast. We want to thank the Outlaw family for being here with us this evening. And let's go ahead and give some shout outs to our family members that are here. It looks like we've got, hi Grizzly, by the way.
Hello,
and
ladies
Michael.
and gentlemen. Welcome.
It looks like we've got Roger in the house. Little Twisted Girl, you are here for every show. I know I always say that, but I love seeing you here. Mary, hello, beautiful. Raymond, how are you doing, sir? Looks like we also have Liana showing up in the house. Hey, love, how are you? Michael, how are you doing this evening?
I am so excited for tonight, sister. I am. I've been doing great. I'm enjoying this fall weather that's starting to come on. How about you? How you been doing?
I'm jealous of your fall weather, sir, because down here in Texas, it's still hot. I think we got up to 96 today.
I haven't had the AC on in a whole week. I'm like loving it.
Oh, well, look, you and Grizzly live kind of close together. Grizzly, are you getting to enjoy that awesome weather too?
77 degrees. You know, that's what we call, I can't say it on the air, but nice weather for a certain type of attire. But yes, it's been fantastic. I love it. Yeah.
Well,
wonderful.
sister, I love the fact that Little Twisted says she's addicted. So we love that.
Right. I think she's addicted to the entire Outlaw family, but we have to remember that she is the Outlaw family. Okay. That woman shows up to everything. I love it so much.
Yeah. Fantastic, man. Fantastic.
And Little Twisted, I agree with you. I am so ready for them temperatures that these two are getting to enjoy, because this 96 degrees today, I was like, oh my goodness, can we get some leaves to fall off the trees here?
So I want to give a shout out. We got a VIP in the house, Grandmaster. What's up, Grandmaster? Nice to see you. Long time no see, man. We got to have you back on the show, man, with your helmet and stuff and crystal ball. So I'll reach out to you, man, have you back on the show. Yeah, he's a wrestler and everything. So yeah, absolutely, man. So what's the topic tonight?
So Michael, do you want to go ahead and start with it?
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Tonight is called Feel Good Tuesday. You know, a couple of weeks ago, sister, if you'll remember back, we did some inspirational quotes and kind of gave some uplifting spirit and stuff. You know, there's a lot of things going on in the world in general right now, and you know, every once in a while, we have the old saying, if you remember, Feel Good Fridays. That usually consists of where people go out after work as a group and do something that adult like. But we're going to do a Feel Good Tuesday tonight. We want to share some inspiring stories, have some inspiring conversations, give some uplifting messages to our audience, and just have some good conversation and inspiration between us. So that's really what it's all about. You know, we're gonna really highlight a lot of things tonight that helps you to change the mentality. Sometimes within the theme of the Love and Light, you know, things happen in life, and we just kind of, whether it be good or bad, we have to go with it, because that's life. Ups, downs, sideways, ins and outs, right?
That's right.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Little Twisted said it's a Twisted Tuesday.
It's a Twisted Tuesday. It's a Twisted Tuesday. Actually, I love that. I'm going to borrow that a Little Twisted if I can.
Girl, you better copyright it while you can.
Right. Every Tuesday is a Taco Twisted Tuesday. How about that? There you go.
Oh, yes. And I did eat tacos for dinner tonight. So, what are we
showed me
gonna...
that you showed me that taco pie last night. I'm still having some cravings for it. I was like,
look,
yeah.
That's what I ate for leftovers tonight. It was amazing, y'all. My mom makes this. It's called a taco ring, where she takes like the crescent roll stuff and she puts all the taco fillings inside of it and wraps the crescent around it and throws it in the oven. And then when you pull it out, you just put the cold toppings on, and it's a taco wrapped in bread, basically. So it's so good. Hey, Melinda. But so Michael, what are we going to start talking about first tonight?
Well, you came up with this saying a while back, sister, and I give sole credit to you, that things happen for you and not to you, right?
That's right.
So I really wanted to open our show and our conversation tonight with that, because we've asked several people, whether it be here or on our other platforms, what that term really means to them. And as life has its twists and turns, its ups and downs, it's not about the situation and the circumstance and the physical facts of what's happened. I was actually just having a conversation with somebody about this tonight. It's about the mentality that we keep. It's natural for a human mentality to have to go to the negative first. Would you agree?
Yes.
But like from what you do, you give people some spirituality. You give them a sense of guidance, and you give them a sense of purpose, especially with as powerful as you are, Queen.
Thank you.
You really do some coaching to people. You have a knack for taking people that you see going a long distance. You take them under their wing, and so those are things that can happen for you in a positive sense. But the hard thing people do nowadays, and is when something negative happens, it's hard to stop and say, well, is this happening for me? Because the universe or God, or however you want to put it, may be preventing you from something. I've heard stories myself before that you got delayed in leaving the house 15 minutes because it avoided that accident. And the universe and God said, nope, not yet. You forgot your keys, because I'm going to save you. I'm going to save you. It's not your time yet. So little knack things like that. But I got a good quote for you. Dr. Zuckerman noted, not only is it okay to feel okay, it's essential, and an abnormal emotional response to an abnormal situation is normal. We cannot simply pick the emotions we want to have, allowing yourself not to feel okay involves accepting all feelings, thoughts, and sensations and sitting with them until they pass. If you would try to avoid, suppress, or ignore them, they only grow stronger and leave you overwhelmed and believing that you cannot cope. So with that, I ask you, sister, what do you get out of that quote from Dr. Zuckerman?
I mean, he's ultimately just saying that throughout our hard times, it's okay to not be okay for a day or two, but we need to remember that we are okay. We can push through it. That's kind of how I interpret that in layman's terms, if you will.
Right. And we have to allow ourselves permission for it. We have to allow ourselves to permission to express and feel all the ranges of emotions. And the reason we have to allow it is because we don't necessarily always grow as human beings from the positive. We grow from the negative, and the negative consists of those emotions. One of the things that I think we have a couple of videos that we really want to throw in here. I'm going to let you go ahead and go first if you'd like.
Okay.
Well, Michael, you go first, please.
Oh, sure. No problem.
While Michael's pulling his up, I actually have a Bible quote. It's from 1 Corinthians 3:16, and it says, "Do you not know that you are the temple of God and that the Spirit of God dwells in you?" And I just want to say that actually brings us to, it's okay to have a bad day, but ultimately we want to go ahead and make sure we're taking care of ourselves. We're grounding ourselves, doing our meditations, getting our mind aligned with our heart and the rest of our body. And that is what gets us through our hard times, right? And I like pulling things out of the Bible because, they call it the Living Bible for a reason. You learn maybe a verse, and then when you hear it again in a year, it might mean something a lot different to you. But this is one of those verses that I've held on to, knowing that no matter what I go through, my body is my temple, and it is my direct connection to source. When I'm aligned, within myself, I'm aligned with source. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. What do you think about that, Michael?
And also, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the show, we're going to have a 9/11 memorial service contribute. So just stick around, please. Go ahead, Michael.
Definitely. I love that, Christina, because even myself, I've learned that you don't always have permission to know what's to come.
If you're rejected, accept it. If you're unloved, let go. If they choose someone or something over you, move on. Not everyone you love will stay. Not everyone you trust will be loyal. I don't care about losing people who don't want to be in my life anymore. I've lost people who meant the world to me, and I'm still doing just fine. Do not follow the majority. Follow the right way. You can feel it when someone is not being real with you. Energy never lies. Always speak how you feel and never be sorry for being real. Give people time. Give people space. Don't beg anyone to stay. Let them roam. What's meant for you will always be yours. I feel so much better when people don't know where I am and what I'm doing. You may not be able to control every situation and its outcome, but you can control your attitude and how you deal with it. Do good. It will come back to you in unexpected ways. Be happy with what you have while working for what you want. Remember that some things have to end for better things to begin.
Denzel Washington once said,
If you're rejected, accept it. If you're unloved, let go. If they choose someone or something over you, move on. Not everyone you love will stay. Not everyone you trust will be loyal. I don't care about losing people who don't want to be in my life anymore.
And that really is true. Wouldn't you agree, sister?
Yes, it is. Something I've learned, and I think it was a little bit of the discussion that you and I had last night on the phone, is that as you look within yourself and you find yourself growing and evolving into higher vibrations, the people around you that are not growing with you or that are not on the same level as you tend to fall away, right? And that video actually hits on, don't wait for them. Do it for yourself.
Yep. I've learned so many lessons on that. And, you said something to me in our conversation last night that really kind of did inspire me. And it's really stuck in my head for all day today. It's, be yourself. I've always said the number one most important relationship that you can have is with yourself. Excuse me. That comes with knowing that people in your life can be like leaves on a tree. They will come and they will go. It's proven that the true people that will last a lifetime are, you can count on one hand, and those are the people that will. They're your roots. I find that the older I get and the more mature I grow, the more inspired I get to understand that it's okay to be alone, with myself. Even as a younger person, Christina, I didn't accept myself very well because I thought of everyone else's acceptance was my own.
Right.
But now I understand. It's like Denzel says, it's okay to be alone. It's okay to be by yourself because people are going to come and go, and you have to you have to let go of them. And so it's really just an inspiring story for me. Go ahead.
So,
Right.
Grizzly, what did you think of that video?
I think people need to adhere to that, and I think people need to follow that. And if you're going to speak it, you need to adhere to it. And anyways, yeah, I think people fall short of it.
Be what you tell other people to be, right?
Yeah, right. And
I
because people know when you're
agree.
fake. People know when you're fake, and people know where your heart is and where your heart is not. And a little twisted
Exactly.
will know exactly what I'm talking about, and so will Amy and Melinda and Liana. Everybody knows where I stand. I am very boisterous. Trina knows where I stand. Raymond knows where I stand. Hannah, Mary, everybody knows where I stand because I have a moral compass that's ethical. And I say this every time, right? And we talked about this. But if you preach it, then you ought to walk the line. And people do not do that. They're hypocrites. They're false prophets. They're, they go to church, they preach one thing and do another. And it's just blasphemy. And that's what I call it, blasphemy. And you know, and when I heard that you're all doing a show tonight, I was like, I think I'm going to tag along on this one because, you know, we have to change. And, you know, when Cristina was telling me what the show was going to be about, I was like, change and motivation. And, you know, 2019 made me very, very humble. It brought me to my knees because that's when I got hurt. And that's when I found out that I was going to die within 6 months because of cancer. And it turned my life around. And I looked at people and how people live life, and they waste it. They waste it every day. They lie to themselves. They lie to others. They lie about what they are and what they are not. They lie to people to get into these cliques, and they want to be something that they're not. They're not themselves, and it's awful. And then they want to know why their lives does not flourish in flower, because no matter what they want, they don't change. And so I went out there and I found a video that I wanted to share. Talks about, Amy, it doesn't matter how long you've been a widow. You know, I was single since 2019, and y'all know the story. I'm not going to rehash it, but however it may be, you know, it's just God has a plan, but you have to be on the righteous path to accept things. But anyways, let's share this.
And I just want to throw a caveat on there because, you know, Little Twisted also said, I enjoy being alone. Yes, I get lonely, but I like talking to myself. And, you know, she put little laughy emojis at the end of that. But I just want to say also, you know, I got a divorce in 2017 from a man that it was not the best kind of relationship. It was a DV situation, and I was in it for 10 years. And when I left that relationship in 2017, I went through some hard times to follow because I had what a lot of people would call Stockholm syndrome. I didn't know how to manage on my own. And after I got done going through the little bit of mess that was caused from that Stockholm syndrome, I went through some rehabilitation as far as my mental health status. And when I got finished with that, I actually went and I got a degree in psychology. And I spent from 2017 all the way until 2023 being single, not having any contact with anybody in, you know, a relationship kind of way. And I spent that 6 years truly finding myself. Being alone is hard. And being lonely, it does happen sometimes. But when you're alone, that's when you are truly able to find your authentic self, and you're able to start growing and get to the high vibration levels that a lot of us, I would honestly say everybody in the outlaw family strives to be on. And so don't be afraid to be alone, because that's where you're going to find your true growth. And when you're alone and you find yourself, that's when you get to do something amazing, like what Christopher and I have been able to do. And we found our soulmates in each other. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I wouldn't have done the 6 years by myself.
And action.
Nothing changes if nothing changes, man. In order for something to change, there needs to be change.
They'd say, well, I'm afraid to make a change. And I'd say, well, that's okay. That's understandable. How afraid are you of not making a change? Let's make a little vision of that. You're 35, you hate your job. What's the consequence? You're not motivated. You don't want to get out of bed in the morning. You're starting to get depressed. You're getting bitter. You're getting resentful. You're getting cynical. You're amotivated at work. You're not doing a very good job. And you're starting to shrink. Now play that out for 10 years. You don't change it. You don't fix it. And what happens? You're going to be in the same situation, but 10 years older. And if you can't get out of that situation now, what the hell makes you think you're going to get out of it in 10 years?
You're only seeing what's in front of you. You're not seeing what's above you.
I can't change the beginning, but could I change the middle? Can I edit that story, rewrite that story, and change my entire life?
Everybody's so crippled by decisions, but you never know how the other thing worked out. Let me give you an example. Let's say you don't go to college and you start this business and you were 100% right and it's huge and you're doing so great. Yeah. But because you did that, you had to fly to America for a big meeting and your plane crashed and you died. That would be a bad idea. Yeah. Or you think you're gonna go to college because it's a good experience and you'll meet people. You can meet people in a business. You're not gonna know. I think people overthink decisions. You'll never know what the alternative would have been. So just pick one and do it.
Change is inevitable, and you are either changing for the worse or changing for the better. You decide.
I hope I do not believe in you more than you believe in yourself. Now listen to me, guys. The transition's going to be hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. Go from being on the block, going to be a high school dropout, to getting a GED, the transition is not easy. So what happens? In order for you to go from one level to the next level, in order for any man to transit, listen to me, in order for any woman to transition, for any man to transition, the thing that they want must be greater than the thing they currently have. Listen to me very closely. I didn't come in here to tell you you're gonna finish school. I came to ask you what's next. I came to ask you what's next. For me, it's the Nobel Prize.
I always think about other people that's going through a tougher life than I am. What if I had to change places? Would I trade places? You know, there's something I would always say to people from time to time. If I could take out a piece of paper and write down my problems, and you could take out a piece of paper and write down your problems, and we exchange those papers, and I'm thinking I got such a tough life, and you may have a tough life, but I pick up your paper, the one you may have written on, and I'm looking like, wow, I thought I had it bad. And then the other person say, hey, you got it a lot better than I do. You know what I would do? I would say, give me my paper back. I'll take my problems back. The point that I'm saying is this: I didn't put myself in such a pity party position to where I felt, why me? Why not me? Why shouldn't I go through this? See, you have to know, and I believe this even more, there can never be anything good unless there's some bad along the way. There has to be a challenge. There has to be a struggle. There has to be some setbacks. You cannot think in your mind that that's all you're good for is the good things. How good are you when you're at your weakest point in your life? Where are you when you're at the down low of your life? Then what do?
You are either going to evolve or expire. See, everything changes. The economy changes, relationships changes. We change mentally and emotionally and physically, and you are either dying or you are either living.
How am I a different person than I was this morning when I woke up? The initial reaction would be, I'm not. It's only been like 12 hours. How could I be different? But if I really think about it, what do I now know that I didn't know before? What experiences have I had that my prior self hadn't had when I had just woken up? And if I actually think about it, just like gratitude, I'm creating the frame of my past. I actually can and do see that I am different than my past self, even 12, 13 hours ago or the night before. And by appreciating that, I now acknowledge that I've changed, which increases my psychological flexibility. It allows me to see that I'm not the same person, that I am growing, that I am evolving, which is really useful for then thinking of your future self as a different person.
You don't know. Like there's no time machine. There's no future machine. We're all over analyzing everything. Like, how do you know? You don't. Like, this is why I keep trying to push people. The only thing that I know seems practical is, are you happy? Are you happy today? Feels like it's the right thing. Are you like, this is important. It's you can't analyze. Like, I didn't know that starting a YouTube show for my wine business was going to be the reason that I was going to have a huge investing career. I couldn't see that.
And there's little Red dancing.
This 30 seconds is your life passing you by an opportunity to change. It's your prerogative. You want to go down the path you have right now of your life and where it's going? Or do you see an alternate path that's not flatline, but climbing up an echelon of remembrance, a possibility where dreams exist, legacy exists, the possibility of change? So within the grasp of these hands, within the grasp of 30 seconds, it's within you. You had the will. You're here. I know you have the will. You have the intestinal fortitude. You have the want to change.
You only live once, so do what you feel passionate about. Take chances. Don't be afraid to fail.
How do you know true strength when you never tasted the weakness? When you never was down on your luck? When you were at the bottom? I had to ask myself. And I realized, you got to go through this hell, man. This is it. Because as long as you're living, you got to keep moving.
It all starts with a thought. But changing your thoughts is easy, it's free, can be instant. What's the point of making it complicated? How does that help anyone who says, well, I'm messed up and so hard to change and people can't change? It's like, well, that's not correct. Who taught you that? From the minute you're born, you're changing. Oh, you know, it's long and arduous to recover. No, it isn't. Some people recover like that. Some people don't, but you could be one of the ones that changes your thoughts, changes your feelings, changes your actions after all.
When do you experience the positive emotion that's associated with happiness? The answer is not when you've attained a goal, but when you're pursuing one.
Don't you realize excuses will kill you? It will destroy your well-being. And the more excuses you make, the less effort you're going to give.
There's a million things I've done wrong. It's because I didn't do something that would have sent me somewhere else, but I have no idea. You don't know. You don't.
If you do not apply what you hear and it goes over your head, you will miss your moment.
Nothing changes if nothing changes, man.
This is why the Outlaw family is who we are. Because we change. We adapt. You all may think I'm hard. It's not being hard. It's being critical and change. This is how I breathe every day. Cristina has seen it. Another thing that we talk about in life is why we fall. And people don't realize why we fall. And I think this is a critical part as being humans, is we have to understand that. Not only must we change and how we change, but when somebody is trying to help you to change and give you direction, listen and change. It's not having a tough conversation. It's building you or them or it up for a better tomorrow. Because what I did yesterday is going to be better today and better tomorrow. I make changes daily. I reflect on what I do and how I do things. But look at how we fall. Look how people fall in life and action.
That is so right. That is so right.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Pain is temporary. It may last for a minute, or an hour, or a day, or even a year. But eventually, it will subside, and something else will take its place. If I quit, however, it will last forever.
The margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second.
You got a dream, you got to protect it. People can't do something themselves. They want to tell you you can't. You want something, go get it. Period.
Don't be afraid to fail. You can't always win, but don't be afraid of making decisions.
You have to believe that something different can happen. He who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right.
That most of you say you want to be successful, but you don't want it bad. You just kind of want it. You don't want it badder than you want to party. You don't want it as much as you want to be cool. Most of you don't want success as much as you want to sleep.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us.
Dig deep down, ask yourselves, who do you want to be? Figuring out for yourselves what makes you happy, no matter how crazy it may sound to the people.
Make a choice. Like, you just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide.
Why not? Why can't I be the MVP of the league? Why can't I be the best player in the league? I don't see why. Why can't I do that?
What is it you said to the kid? It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. Get up. Get up. And don't ever give up.
We can stay here, get the shit kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell, 1 inch at a time.
To be able at any moment to sacrifice what you are for what you will become. Most of you won't be successful because when you're studying and you get tired, you quit. I don't do well in math. You're right. You ain't never studied. I'm not good at writing because you have never written before.
Talent you have naturally. Skill is only developed by hours and hours and hours of beating on your craft. If you are not making someone else's life better, then you're wasting your time.
Don't cry to give up. Cry to keep going. Don't cry to quit. You already in pain. You already hurt. Get a reward from it.
Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not point the finger saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
Because every day is a new day. Every moment is a new moment. So now you got to go out and show them that I'm a different creature. Now,
I'm going to show you how great I am.
In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power. The power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure.
Now, what are you going to do?
Because limits, like fears, are often just an illusion.
That's it. See, people quit. They get tired and weak and they quit. They get flustered and mad and they quit. They get pushed, they quit. They fall and they quit. They get challenged and they quit.
Exactly.
Just
You know,
saying.
I love that little twisted says cowgirl up. Amy said pull up the bootstraps. You know, it's all the same thing, right? You get put in a situation and you can either sit there and you can put yourself into isolation and depression and sadness and whatever else you're going to put yourself through, or you can go, you know what? Change is inevitable. It's time to change my life and make those decisions. Those decisions are hard to make sometimes. But at the end of the day, if you're not willing to go for that change, life isn't going to change for you.
Care Bear says, I have been working on raising my vibration and being positive and grateful. Had some pretty bad, hard blows in the past month. Miracles and hope that I didn't see are coming along. Angels are with us. Girl,
Yes,
I
I
have
am.
been on rock bottom. I have been where I had negative $13 in my bank account, no gas in my gas tank, and no food in my cupboard. And I have recouped all that. I have been places to where you would not fathom.
Mhm.
When I say I have hit rock bottom, I have hit rock bottom. And this is what I'm trying to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. You can overcome anything in life. You got to have faith and you got to be destined to do that. So,
You know, Care Bear also said a little bit back, a good change is doing one thing that makes her uncomfortable each day, and that was good for her, because it's really at the bottom line as we're talking about. It's if you don't change, then nothing changes. And so, you know, this being a really good feel good Tuesday, it's about making the positive changes in the mentality that you have. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I want to pose this question to our audience. How many of you have ever been put into a situation where you wanted to give up? You went into depression. Um, you closed yourself off from the world. I know I have. I I can't even tell you how many situations I've been in my life, and it's not always because I put myself there. It's just because I had unfortunate situations happen around me, you know. And I will tell you this: the first relationship that I've ever had, that the man has truly cared about the things I've been through and how to help me to, I don't want to say overcome because I've already overcome my obstacles, but how to deal with my triggers from the things that I went through is Grizzly. He has helped me to heal so much in the amount of time that I've known him. And I'm so appreciative for that, you know, because I went through something at the beginning of this year where it honestly, I know a lot of y'all know I was in the military. I've been to war. I've been the victim of SAs. You know, I've been through so much. But what I went through at the beginning of this year was the worst thing that I've ever experienced in my life. You know, people ask me, they say, "What are you scared of? What fear do you have?" And I tell them, I'm not scared of anything. I'll take on the world. I don't care. I'll set this world on fire for what I love. But let me tell you, the one fear that I've always had as a mother is losing my child. And at the beginning of this year, some very unfortunate things happened to me to where I was part of a DV situation again after not being in a relationship for 6 years. And because of that DV situation, my daughter ended up going to be with her dad. And now she lives with him. We have joint custody. She's still my child. I still see her several times a week. But the fact of the matter is, my worst fear happened to me. My daughter was taken from my home. I don't get to see her every day. But y'all also see me getting up here on all of these screens on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere. And y'all see me pushing through it. You see me having a smile on my face and inspiring others. And that's because you can't change things unless you change things. So remember that when you're going through your things. Oh, go ahead, Michael.
No, that's thanks for sharing that. Thanks for being vulnerable, Christina. That story right there, that's gonna not just touch you, but it's gonna touch someone, because someone's gonna relate to it. We as human beings, we're not meant to, number one, be alone, and we always want to relate to someone else. And even if we have negative situations in our life, there's someone out there that can relate to our similar situation. I recently had a conversation with somebody just yesterday who has really got a rocky relationship with their parents. And as they were talking about it, I got to talking about the relationship with my parent and my mother. God bless her. I love her. She is my mother. But we just have grown to a level that we understand we have differences of opinions. But for many years, we disagreed and we argued. But through my example, my learning and my growth, I was able to help this other individual understand that you can look at somebody, you can love somebody, you can, when it's been a negative past with them, and you can just still love them and accept them for who they are. And even if it's something that's happened in your past that has caused some trauma, you still can overcome, and you can still look at that person and say, you know what? It still pains me. I still carry some of it, but I'm working to get better. I'm keeping a better positive mentality on it. But I still know that you're human too. And
Right.
we only do what we're taught from our past.
So
right?
exactly. And so the video that I chose to show for tonight talks about getting through your storm. And the reason I share my story is because I do want everybody to be able to get through their storm. And this man right here, he gives a perfect presentation of what to say.
How's your morning been? This life has been hell on you lately, huh? You know, without rain, nothing grows, right? And the very storm you are in right now that you feel is wreaking havoc in your life may very well just be there to clear a better path for you. You see, life isn't about waiting for the sun to shine. It's about learning to have peace in the rain. And it's at the toughest moments in your life that you truly find out just how strong you are. So I know it's easier said than done to get up and keep moving forward. But when I tell you you're doing better than you think, it's because you are. And when I tell you that you're stronger than you think, it's because you are. This storm won't last, but you will.
Officer Udi, he became popular on TikTok a couple of years ago. And this man has truly become an inspiration to me. And what he just said, he hit the nail on the head. This man went through, while he was a police officer, he lost his wife. He's a single dad raising his kids now. And when he puts out these videos, man, it brings tears to my eyes, because it reminds me that even though I went through literally the worst storm in my life, and I know I'm a lot younger than a lot of people around here. I'm 39 years young. But at 39 years old, I went through my biggest fear, and I have overcome it. And through overcoming it, this is where I tell people nothing happens to you. It happens for you. Because that man doing what he did to me at the beginning of the year, and him being the reason that I lost my daughter for a little bit, ultimately, it led me to this man up here. It led me to my ultimate happiness. It led me to my soulmate. And guess what? I get to see my daughter whenever I want. She might actually physically live with her dad, but she's still here. she's still in my life. And I've gained something amazing out of this experience. So
That's amazing, sister. I love what Little Twisted just said. You have a support system. I think that Christina, I'm going to put this out there to the world, coast to coast and around the world, as we say. Both of these people above me are just absolutely amazing in my eyes. Your strength, Christina, it permeates from who you are. Your drive, your desire, your ambition, your strength just comes out of you. Grizzly, your moral compass, as you mentioned earlier, there is no teeter-totter about that. And that is so respectful. It is so something that is rare in these days and this world today. A lot of the things that we have that are going on negative in the world, it can affect people in different ways. It can be a situation where we start feeling triggers about our own circumstances, our own stories. Little Twisted also said to Care Bear that she's given herself 2024 to grieve and to heal, and then she's getting right back out there. Bravo to that, because you allow yourself to feel everything. You allow yourself and you give yourself permission to feel all of it. And that is something that is just absolutely got to be done, because again, the number one relationship you can have is with yourself.
And that's the part where Officer Udi was talking about. Even if you're moving slowly through your storm, you're still moving, and that's growth. So don't forget it. Don't sit stagnant in the pool that the rain has caused. Make sure you keep moving through it, because when you get to the other side of that storm, the blessings are astounding.
Absolutely.
And on that note, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, Michael.
On that note, I want to kind of take a little bit of a turn here and keep the good, positive, feel-good vibes for the Tuesday going and talk about our spotlight for a nonprofit. Is that okay with you?
No, read your personal messages, please.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Go ahead, Christina.
Okay, so since tomorrow is September 11th, I wanted to go ahead and Michael and Chris as well, we all wanted to do a little bit of a dedication to 9/11 tonight. And I just wanted to let everybody here know that on September 10th of 2001, there were 246 people that night getting ready for their flight that they were going to take the next morning. There was 2,606 people that were laying out their clothes or taking their showers or getting their children ready for bed with the expectation that they were going to get up the next morning and go about their normal day of going to work in the Twin Towers or the Pentagon. There was 343 firefighters, 60 police officers, and 8 paramedics that all were getting ready to go on shift the next morning so that they could do what all of our amazing emergency personnel do and go out and help protect our communities and save people's lives. Of all these people that I've mentioned, not one of them went to bed on September 10th of 2001 with the thought that they were never going to be having another night at home in their bed with their family. So with that, we here on the Live and Light podcast want to give a dedication to those beautiful souls who gave their all on September 11th, 2001. And we want to thank all of them for that sacrifice.
I thought I was watching a movie, Towering Inferno at first. And then I looked real close and I noticed it was the World Trade Center. I was compelled because I'm a type of person that can't stand by and watch other people suffer. And to me, they were suffering. They wanted to get off the island. And there was no way for them to get off the island other than the water. And I had noticed when I was watching the television, I saw a lot of, the ferries going up into the slips and taking people off. I said, fine, we could do the same thing. I could take people on my boat, get in there, take them where they have to go. And that's what we did.
On the morning of September 11th, when the towers came down, millions of people ran for safety. Hundreds of thousands of them ran south to the water's edge. That's when they realized that Manhattan is indeed an island and that they were trapped.
They were feeling helpless, and that's the worst feeling in the world. What was a person on the ground going to do? Buildings were down. There were people laying under the rubble of the building. Firemen, civilians. My wife was there, and I turned around. I says, I've got to go do something. Just like that. And she looked at me. She says, what are you going to do, you maniac? I says, I'm going to take the amberjack up into the city and help. She says, but what if they're attacked again? I says, well, then that's something I have to live with. I says, I have to do what I have to do. I says, and nobody can stop me right now. Even if I save one person or I rescue one person, that's one person less that will suffer and die.
They were trying to evacuate Manhattan because nobody knew what was going on. You didn't know if something else was going to happen. It was just, a madness on one side and, and wanting to help people on the other side.
They were just streaming out of the buildings. And the first mode of transportation they saw was a ferry boat. That's when they knew, this is how I'm getting out of here. So they didn't even care where the boat was going.
There wasn't panic in New York in the beginning, just volume. It wasn't until the first building fell that there was panic.
You heard the building go down, but we're in the slip, so we can't see it. That's when we started letting go, and then all of a sudden, engulfed. You couldn't see anything.
People were actually jumping into the river and swimming out of Manhattan. Boats were very nearly running them over.
Wait. These people wanted out of Manhattan no matter any way they could.
Somebody wants you to go over there.
Every mode of transportation out of Manhattan was shut down. All the subways were shut. The tunnels were all closed. They closed the bridges. They closed everything immediately.
Boats, usually an afterthought in most New Yorkers' minds, were for the first time in over a century the only way in or out of Lower Manhattan.
Start evacuating people. Anybody can get over here, we're going to evacuate them.
The process that actually had already started. There were some boats that were grabbing people, that people were lined up at the walls.
On the left.
It's just human nature. You see people in distress on the seawall in Manhattan begging you to pick them up. You have to pick them up.
They didn't know what was going on. They seen the building getting hit with these two planes. As far as they was concerned, we were being bombed. I was wondering if they were going to come on the boat, if they had people with bombs, or if they were going to come on. We're a big orange target in the middle of that harbor. My job is to keep the boat safe, my passengers safe, my crew safe.
Everybody was in shock, running around. They didn't want to leave their families. They had loved ones running around the city.
Anybody have the baby? Nobody has it.
There was one guy ran from the apron and jumped onto the boat. He grabbed onto the metal, climbed up right next to the pilot. So I'm going out there to say something. He slides down to the next deck. So the deckhands get him and go, what are you doing? He goes, I'm jumping for my life. So, you couldn't argue with him there.
There was a small boat that was at the lower tip of Manhattan. I thought the boat was going to flip over because so many people were trying to get on. And as I looked behind, they were just 10 deep. That's kind of what gave us the idea.
We decided that this has to get better organized and we better do it. And that's what we did.
So we decided to make the call on the radio. All available boats. This is the United States Coast Guard aboard the pilot boat, New York. Anyone want to help with the evacuation of Lower Manhattan? Report to Governor's Island.
When that call came on the radio, they were coming.
I was uncertain of who was going to respond. About 15, 20 minutes later, there are just boats all across the horizon.
Literally 100 targets converging on the lower part of Manhattan.
When we came out of that dust cloud, tugboats, I'd never seen so many tugboats all at once.
There was just like a fleet of tugboats headed to Manhattan.
If it floated and it could get there, it got there. All different size, shapes, and form. I mean, and they were zooming across this water.
Ferries, private boats, party boats.
I worked on the water for 28 years. I've never seen that many boats come together at one time that fast. One radio call and it just came together just that fast.
Hundreds of boats converged on the city, leaving the sun-bathed harbor behind them. Dead ahead, the unknown.
I chose that video, ladies and gentlemen, because a lot of people didn't know about what happened in that bay, about people dying and being run over by boats trying to swim, and the men and women that use their boats and tugs to try to save people. So for our viewers that we have out there that are watching and are going to rewatch the show, that are suffering from the 9/11 cancer, our hearts and prayers go out to you. And they know who they are. They're our regular viewers that watch our show that are suffering from the 9/11 disease, from that disaster. So you all have any comments before Michael takes over?
I think I said everything I needed to.
I did not know that, Grizzly. I did not know about the boats in the harbor. I mean, thank you for choosing that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's mind blowing, and it just gives another perspective of why we remember every year. For some families, it may be a challenging time, but we always celebrate the heroes. And on that note, we want to take a moment to celebrate the heroes that give back to the world, and we want to take a moment to celebrate the heroes that do kindness in the world. One of the things that we challenge everyone this week is to go out and do one act of good kindness for someone else. As we remember and we dedicate our honor to the fallen for the 9/11 so many years ago. It's the kindness it's the kindness of humanity and the kindness of people coming together as a community, as a whole, and as a family that helps rebuild, that helps carry on the memory, that helps carry on that. So, Cristina and I together, we really want to challenge everyone to go out this week and perform or do one act of kindness, whether it be giving a stranger a hug, whether it be paying for someone's coffee, whether it be helping an old elderly person across the street, whether it be handing a lunch or a dinner to a homeless person. We want to hear about your challenges and your acts of kindness this week, because we want to talk about it next week. We want to continue this topic on. We want to hear about how our audience is giving back, or how we're giving back, and how we're trying to change the negativity in the world by just simply doing acts of kindness. There's a saying that the most free thing you can do is give of yourself, because it doesn't cost you anything. Kindness is free. So on that note, Cristina, I'll go ahead and let you close out.
All right. We want to thank y'all for coming and joining us tonight and broadcasting from coast to coast all around the world. We wish you a blessed evening.
Coming to a YouTube channel near you.